morning, everyone, and welcome to today's segment of the Behavioral Theory News. I'm Jenna Rossi, and today I'm joined by
Zahid.
And Sabrina Zilli. Today, we are going to be discussing Rene Descartes, who he was, his contributions to science, and how his work continued to influence the scientific world today. Jenna, would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. So, many of you are likely already familiar with, or have at the very least heard of the name Rene Descartes. If not, the famous quote, "I think therefore I am," might ring a bell. Descartes was a popular French philosopher born March 31st, 1596, and died February 11th, 1650 at the age of 53. According to Mary Domsky, Rene Descartes is considered to be one of the first modern philosophers coming out of the Renaissance. Often referred to as the father of modern philosophy, his popularity is largely attributed to his addition of knowledge to the discussions of mathematics, physics, and humanism in the early 1600s. His mathematical applications involved the use of algebra to solve geometric problems, which he presented in his book La Géométrie in 1637. Descartes also wrote Meditations on First Philosophy in 1641. This was arguably his most influential work, which addressed his thoughts regarding the potential that lies within the sciences. He then went on to explain things about the physical world, covering topics like the laws of motion and astronomy. An article by the author Gary Hatfield illustrated that through the use of physics, Descartes' goal was to find reasons to explain the connection between humans and the natural world. Put simply, he thought that the fact that humans have senses which function to allow them to interact with nature was all too convenient, and therefore, their minds and bodies must somehow be connected back to the earth. Now I'll pass it off to Rosie so she could give a more in-depth view of Descartes' works regarding humanism.
Thanks, Hannah. There is quite a lot to learn from Descartes' finding concerning psychology and human life, but I will try to only emphasize the points best suited for our purpose within the discussion. I think therefore I am is a famous statement coined by Descartes explaining that anyone who is capable of thought exists. This statement could not be questioned as Descartes explained that there was no doubt he existed, and this is because he was able to doubt his existence in the first place. One theory that Descartes suggests was mind-body dualism. He was the first person to propose that our minds and bodies are different from one another. Before his theory came to be, humans were seen as spiritual beings, where a disease or illness was caused by one's immorality. Descartes' theory on mind and body dualism persuaded people to think less spiritually about the body and more scientifically. This contributed the progress of medical science through the study of physiology and anatomy. Descartes is known as the father of modern philosophy, as he played a large part in the theory of rationalism. Rationalism was a theory that understood the world based on the use of reason. He used a rationalist approach in which he tried to reason everything during the Enlightenment phase. During this period, Descartes contributed to a great deal in advancing natural science. He shared a scientific understanding of matter, which helped develop an understanding of the physical world. He proposed that the world is made up of matter and that matter has properties follows universal laws. His view of dualism, the belief that there are two kinds of reality, physical and spiritual, later become important aspects of psychology as well as philosophy. Even today, meditations is used as modern science, which is considered one of the most important work of Descartes, in which he mentions the existence of God and the distinction between the human souls and the body. Now, Sabrina, do you want to talk a little bit about Descartes' contributions, which are still relevant and actively utilized in our world today?
It would be my pleasure. So, as you've heard from Jenna and Rosie, Rene Descartes made lasting contributions to the sciences. Of course, we know that Descartes is still a very popular figure to discuss within philosophy and historical contexts, but we will be looking specifically at the ways in which his contributions hold up today and to what extent they influence the scientific world. First, it is important to mention that Descartes was active during the Renaissance, meaning that as a rationalist, his work aided in the separation of knowledge from religion, which was a necessary turn of events to allow us to have the progression of science that we see today. His theory on mind-body dualism, for example, still plays a part in today's society. As of course Descartes laid the foundation of separating the mind from the body, he also sparked controversy, which still exists today. An example is the debate of mind-body causal interaction within psychiatry. Over the years, psychiatry has become separated from other medical specialties, which has negatively impacted the field. It has caused a lack of funding and diminished value of proper diagnosis, which has overall contributed to increasing the stigma of mental illness. His theories in the field of mathematics are contributions that are still around today. You may remember learning about the Cartesian coordinate system in high school, where a three-dimensional shape like a cube would result in an algebraic formula on a graph consisting of an x, y, and z axes. This system is the foundation of analytic geometry and assists in other areas of mathematics like linear algebra and calculus. The Cartesian coordinate system is also an essential tool for many applied disciplines that utilize geometry, such as astronomy and engineering. To conclude, Descartes has made many lasting contributions across various disciplines, and his thoughts and findings are still relevant today. If you're ever questioning yourself, just remember, I think, therefore I am. Back to you, Professor Kako.